I'm Dan Ayres. I'm the Coastal Shellfish Manager with the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife, and one of my responsibilities is the management of the coastal razor clam fishery. Razor clamming is really an important fishery that we manage here at the Department of Fish and Wildlife. It's the largest recreational shellfish fishery in the state, and it's something that thousands and thousands of people enjoy to do every year. And we're excited because this coming season that really begins in the next couple of weeks is going to be one of the best seasons we've ever had on record. Now the good news is populations are up over last year. Last year we had about 5 million clams available for harvest, so we're more than double that this year. So look forward to some big clams, lots of digging, and plenty of opportunity to get out and dig razor clams in the next coming months. So the nice thing about razor clam digging is it's not hard to learn how to do. But there's a few easy tricks to the trade that'll help you learn to do a better job of it and come home successful with a limit of razor clams. The very first thing you want to do is get a license ahead of time. A lot of people make the mistake of waiting until they get out to the beach and trying to go to a local grocery store or sporting goods store or hardware store, only to find a line of people out the door waiting for the same thing. And the bad news about that is razor clam digging is very much dependent on the time of low tide, and if you miss the tide, you're going to miss the clams. So if you're standing in line waiting to buy a license, when the tide is changing, you're going to miss out. And while you're at that hardware store or sporting goods store, pick up the right tools. You can't dig razor clams with a garden shovel or a hand shovel. You need to have a razor clam shovel or a razor clam tube. You can get those tools, but have them ahead of time. Again, don't get caught waiting in line. Then you're also going to need, for everyone in your group who's planning to dig razor clams, a container. Everyone has to keep their limit of clams in a separate container. That's a requirement. Make sure everyone has their own container. Now, the other key thing is, and I mentioned it a moment ago, is the time of the tide. You want to be there at least 1 hour before the time of low tide, even better, 2 hours before the time of low tide, to be on the beach and begin looking for razor clam shows. And the show they make is the little mark in the sand that occurs when the razor clam is reacting to movement. If you wait till after the time of low tide, razor clams don't show as well, the tide's coming back in, it's going to chase you up the beach. It's going to be much more difficult, you're going to be much less successful. So dig ahead of the tide, and they change every day. So be sure you know what time the tide is on the day you're out there. And that's another thing that you want to make sure you check before you leave, is that where you're going is a beach that's open. We don't always open every beach every day. Check our website, check our news releases to make sure the beach you're headed for is a beach that is indeed going to be open. And one little point, if you get out there and there's nobody there, that beach probably is not open, because if the razor clam beach is open, there's going to be not just a handful of people, but thousands of people out digging razor clams. The other key pointer is, don't be afraid to ask for help. There's a lot of people out there, and most of them are very friendly, and they're good teachers, and they'll show you what they're looking for. You might be out there looking for a razor clam show, and you might have a hard time tuning your eye to what that is. But if you ask a digger nearby who clearly has his clams, hey, what are you looking for? Most everyone's going to show you and say, there's one, there's one, there's one. Take advantage of all those teachers out there, and that'll help you become more successful when you get back the year. You're going to need a good light, or you're not going to be successful. Now, there are a lot of good headlamps out there now. You want a good bright one. You don't want something that's just a little firefly. A good headlamp. And when you get those razor clams home, the other thing you want to do as soon as you get home is clean your clams. So as soon as you get home, and that way you're going to have a much better meal when you get down to eating them. Get the right equipment, get your license ahead of time, and go have fun. Enjoy it, and get out there and dig some razor clams.